Well, these aren't opening for sure. Oh, wait a minute. Open. Not open. I see a way in. I think I can't quite see. Hi, this is Dan Bell, and here is another Urbex Dan Bell video tour, and this time we are going to explore the Atlantic Electric Control Center, which is located in Egg Harbor Township, New Jersey, probably about 15-20 minutes from Atlantic City. And it opened in 1928 and it closed in 2000 and has been abandoned ever since. This building is a mess, by the way. It's water damage, vandalism, I mean total destruction of this building. It's really, really bad. So we didn't know anything about this building. We were actually driving to Atlantic City to go check out abandoned motels and abandoned hotel casinos, which Atlantic City has a lot of. We were going to go see if we could get into any of them. And as we were driving along, we look over and see this very large building with graffiti on it. And I said to my friend Justin, who was with me, I said, oh, that looks interesting. We should go check that out. So we did. We drove to the rear of the building, found an access road that was open or not blocked off, and we drove in. Walked around the building and found that one entrance, which we ducked, which you saw in the beginning of the video. We ducked in and got inside and discovered this very claustrophobic place with every window sealed shut tight, every door sealed shut tight, and very confusing inside because you get very disoriented because you don't know which way you're going because all the windows are blocked off. So I was a little nervous, to say the least, that we would not be able to figure out how to get back to that entrance that we ducked in. So I kept telling Justin, I'm like, please, please, please remember how to get there, because I am so frazzle-brained, and I don't pay attention when I'm filming. I would have totally been lost. So I felt like we should have tied like ropes to ourselves, like Poltergeist. Like the end of Poltergeist when she goes in to get Carol Ann. That's what I felt like. We needed a rope tied around us. But anyway, here we are in a office area here, and we saw some evidence of police activity. So we saw like police line tape and stuff like that, and then we figured out why. The building has been used, as you can see here on this wall, for police training exercises. So it's a great place, I guess, at the time. They probably did these, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, when the building wasn't so torn up. It'd be a great place for police training. And here is the door to show you the extent that they went through to keep people out.
That's the only thing I'm worried about.
There's an old camera. There are old cameras everywhere. Of course, none of them are working anymore. And here we are. This is a very large data room, and all of the windows that were in these frames that you see on the left and the right have all been broken. And there's some police line tape right there. A lot of the floor was a soppy mess because the building was all drop ceiling, and the roof is leaking really bad. So as the water drips onto these drop ceiling panels, the drop ceiling panels get drenched, they get soaked, they become very heavy, and they fall to the floor. So when you go in and you're walking, it's literally like you're walking in like a muddy drop floor kind of soaked mess, and it's really unpleasant to walk on, especially when you don't have the right shoes, which I really need to get a pair of exploring shoes, just like some cheap boots or something from Walmart, something I can wear into these places that I can take off, because I'm constantly wearing tennis shoes and ruining all my shoes by going into these places. I think I've ruined about a dozen pair of shoes at this point. And I wear like shoes that I like, and then I go to these places. I think, well, we'll find a place that's just concrete floors. It never works out that way.
I think this actually connects.
So, just to clarify, when we go to these buildings, we don't ever try to force our way in. We don't break windows. We don't pry off boards.
Yeah, I mean, people just
we do not. There has to be an opening somewhere, and the reason that I do that. And it's very important. And if you're thinking about exploring places like this, you have to keep in mind, if you force your way in, that's breaking and entering. And if you find, if the police do come and find you, you put yourself in a very bad legal situation, because a breaking and entering charge is very serious. Now, trespassing is different. It's not as serious. Most of the time you just pay a fine. I've never been charged with trespassing or breaking and entering, thankfully. But I always like to be safe, because, no building, no place that is locked up tight is worth breaking into.
So 70s.
No place. So that's what I always say to myself. If we find a place, it's disappointing sometimes, because you go to a place and there's no way to get in. And I'm like, man, I'd love to get in there. But it's not worth being charged with a serious crime. So that's what I like to
It looks like the main lobby.
go by, and also don't take anything from these places. That's another thing. Don't walk out with something. You found something, oh, that's cool, I'm going to take it. Don't do it, because it's not worth it either. If you get caught, you can be charged with theft. So these are all things you have to keep in mind. Just go in, take pictures, don't break anything, don't be stupid, just enjoy the sights, be very careful, and hopefully you won't have any problems. But there is always a risk when you're doing this kind of stuff. You risk maybe running into dangerous people, you risk arrest, you risk all kinds of things. But the thing is, these are really cool places for pictures, and it's so, I guess it's what every urban explorer gets fascinated by. The fact that this at one time was a orderly, organized building, with windows and carpets and whatever, and now it's in complete ruin. And there is something really fascinating about that. So here we go into another data room. How we could tell these are data rooms, they all have these, I don't know if they're called drop floors or floating floors. As you can see in front of us here to the right a little bit, down on the floor, right there. They're panel floors. So you lift it up and you can put wires to connect, I guess,
look at the
different
old
computer
elevator,
systems or whatever.
The light and the...
So we were kind of nervous about walking on those floors because we didn't want them to break and us fall, you know, 1.5 2 feet into the floor and possibly have our skin ripped off or something by a protruding sharp thing or whatever could be in there. And that elevator we just saw, I actually have a little news story here that I found. Basically, it goes like this. In 2012, 4 men broke into the building. They went in with the intent of taking copper wire, and one of the men somehow ended up falling down the elevator shaft. He fell 15 feet to the basement and onto the top of the elevator car. Broke both of his ankles and couldn't get out. So his friends, they called the police. The fire department had to come and rescue him, and then he was airlifted out to a hospital for treatment. Now, this is why I reiterate,
Cafeteria.
do not take things from buildings, because all of them were charged with theft and breaking and entering. And on top of it, the guy is going to have
I think. Yeah.
helicopter, medevac,
It's wet.
situation, bill,
Look at
and
this
medical bills. And I'm sure he doesn't have health insurance. And would health insurance even cover your illegal activities? I really don't know if that works that way. But anyway, here we are in a little cafeteria area. I like the tile work, the red and blue tiles above. And here's an old buffet where I'm sure a kindly lunch lady would scoop out different
and glass. You guys need to eat glass.
scoops of deliciousness. Here's some oven equipment right there. There's a fryer there.
Ooh, they forgot to clean this.
And I think I get a close-up detail. Yeah, here we go. Look how freaking gross that is. There's a nice little demand from the cashier. Please have your money ready. And we go back out into the hallway here. And if you look ahead, it was like one of the happiest moments of this whole experience that I saw an open door. Because at this point I was like, we're really getting into this place. We don't know if we can get out. So I knew with the open door that I would explore the rest of the building. Because I wouldn't be as worried, because I'd know we just take that hallway to get out. Lots of broken windows in this place. Look like the kids came in or somebody came in and busted up the windows. Which also, when you're breaking a window that large, you know, it's got to be kind of dangerous. I like the sun here was reflecting off all the shards of glass up onto the wall with these little specks of light. I thought that was pretty cool looking. This place had, you can see, they had 2 panel windows. So they, like, the exterior window was tinted, and then the interior was just a clear glass. Probably good for those chilly New Jersey winters. Energy efficiency. Here is a cool gravel facade.
This is awesome.
Wall that is awesome.
This rock.
I would love to have one of those, perhaps in my living room, perhaps. I don't know. That would be awesome. This room here, you know, this reminds me of in Aliens, when they go back to the planet LV-426, I think it's called LV-426. So they go back to LV-426, and it's all like abandoned and destroyed. This is what that reminds me of. I could see like 3 aliens like crawling along the ceiling, ready to drop down and attack. No aliens, though. We didn't see any.
It's hideous, and it's scary.
You see that kind of yellow wall. That's carpet. on that wall. I guess they used it to absorb sound. But this room, not this room, but the room we just looked at is huge. We'll see more of it in a minute. This looks like it was some kind of instructional room. You can see here ahead there's a chalkboard. So maybe that's why they put up that carpet, to kind of absorb the sound of the I'm sure a million processors they had in that room to serve their customers. And here we are. I think we're going in this room here, and there is some graffiti in here that's a little bit more creative than just obscene language. The obscene graffiti that you're used to seeing in these places. People write some of the dumbest stuff on the wall in abandoned places. I do not understand it. I guess it's just the thrill of spray painting something, maybe. Here's more police line tape. When we walk back here, and we're going to get a better look at this room, which is just gigantic. I mean, it looked like it went on and on forever and ever. Like, you look in there and you just are like, when does it end? When does it end? It's just huge. The floors in here were concrete, so it was actually nice walking on these. A lot of the times when, you know, I almost wish sometimes I could bring a Steadicam and just have my camera on a Steadicam. It would be so much easier to wear the vest and do it that way, because then the shots would be really, they wouldn't be wobbly, because sometimes when you're walking on this stuff in the dark, I have to really look down, because I'm like, if I don't look down, I'm going to fall. And I have fallen a couple of times in abandoned places, and it's never pretty. You always get really hurt. So I had to get a tetanus shot last time that I fell, which was over the winter. I fell on some ice. Anyway, make sure you check me out on Facebook at This Is Dan Bell, Instagram also at This Is Dan Bell, and Twitter, which is also at This Is Dan Bell. You can check out my other videos. There's plenty of them. And please check out my friend Justin on Twitter at JustinWanioArt. I want to thank you all for watching. Make sure you check out my other videos and subscribe.